Welcome, everyone. We want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us. Come on, let's get to the root of it.
In these times that we live, we take strides to move forward. We strive to be more, stay strong and be focused. Start a while, we make choices, live or die. Take over starts at the root, and the truth may be hard to swallow. Step one, self-love above anything else, and life, peace, and happiness.
And thank you for tuning in to At the Root of It. My name is Shannon, and on tonight's show, I am so ecstatic. I have a great panel of women that is coming to pour some knowledge, wisdom, and just some understanding about what marriage entails, because sometimes we have a picture that is painted for us that is so skewed that when we finally get into that relationship, we kind of muck it up, because we haven't had the correct guidance and leadership with it. Before I get into it, I always go into the fact of what At the Root of It stands for. And we are trying to build a community of both men and women who are on a journey of self-healing and love. We make it a point to try to drive home different perspectives and use biblical references, as well as recommend people to go and see psychological help, because some of these things that we get to the root of are not easy topics, okay? So I was led to do a show about single ladies, right? And single ladies who want to be married. Wait, before I get into that, because you know I start babbling, and before I bring my guests on, who I'm very ecstatic that they agreed to be on the show, and I just love it, love it. I don't have hand claps, but I do have a bell, and I may ring it, okay? But anyway, before we get into everything, you know that what we do here, we share. So I want you guys to take the time right now to share on your page. Tag people who you would think may even, people who you don't know may need it, or maybe they do need it, but just tag, because I really feel that there's going to be some great information that comes out in this show tonight. And we don't want people to miss it, even though there will be a replay, but it's nothing like being here live and in color, where you can have your questions asked up front and personal and right then and there. So let's get to sharing. I'm sharing now. And I'm ecstatic, guys. And I'm not even dating anyone exclusively, but in order for you to get what you desire, you need to prepare. Remember last week we were talking about preparation and how Esther prepared, and I have one of my guests, and she could tell me if we set the right timing as far as a year's time that Esther took. I'm not quite sure, but at any rate, she took the time to actually prepare herself before she presented herself to the king, right? She had a mission, and she knew what she had to do in order for her to get the grace to be in front of the king. And sometimes we miss that fact, getting involved with our king, the man that we call king of our home, the protector, the provider, those things, And we talked about being able. Don't resist the shift. If this is something that you want to do, and you aspire to be married, then don't resist the shift. If there's some changes that you have to go through, some things that you need to tweak, don't resist the things that you have to change, so that you can get what you want. And that is to be a married woman who is protected, honored, and treated as finer than the finest rubies. All right, so let me get this out here, because I know y'all probably share, but I'm going to share right now on my personal page, and then we'll get into it. All right. I hope you guys are excited, because I am. So I shared it on my page. And let's see, do we have comments already? Do you hear? All right, let's see who's here, by the way. All right, Tange is here. Hey, boo. Hey, D. My sister Rita. And Tiffany, my best friend. I love it. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. All right. Just sending out a little some little thingy things. All right. Hey Nardees, hello. So now that that is done and over with, let's get the ball started. So the first person up, if you didn't read in the description, we have a group of women, a panel of women. And I just called them the Wives Club. They're not a club at all, but they're the Wives Club because they have experience and knowledge and understanding on things that we don't. So we have women who have been married for 4 years all the way up to 45 years. So I'm going to introduce each one of them and we'll get this party started. Please make sure that y'all understand that if it goes past an hour, I'm going to let it go because this information is important. All right, so the first person that's up that I love, she is, when I met her in church and I didn't know anybody outside of my sister, but every time I went to the altar and every time I cried, I always felt a pair of arms come around me. And she never knew that I needed, and I was praying for a hug, all right? And every time I was crying and every time I needed a hug, I felt this pair of arms always come around me and always pray over me. And she's so dear to my heart. We realized that we were connected by our souls because of our soul's purpose, and I'm gonna let her get into that. But introducing to some and presenting to others, my soul sister, Miss Latoya Renee George. I love you, love you. Hello. Are you there? Hello.
Hi,
This is my hand clap. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get a hand clap. Hello, darling. Introduce yourself.
Hi. Well, first off, Miss Shannon, my soul sister, I can't say enough about our relationship. When you were just introducing me, I was like, Lord Jesus, we're not gonna do this on this show. Let me wipe my eyes, Lord, because you mean so much to me. And I just thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak to your audience, to your viewers about marriage and healthy relationships, especially when you have God in the middle. So I thank you for the opportunity. So like she said, my name is Latoya Renee. I am an author of Journey to Freedom. I'm also a playwright. My first play was at the Ritz here in Jacksonville, Florida. And I'm also a host, like my fellow host, Miss Shannon. My show is called Sister Can We Talk? It's about inspiring women to believe in the impossible happening in their life. Because so many of us don't believe that God can do it, but I believe when we tell our testimonies, it can inspire, it can shoot flames to us to be able to know that not only can I do it, but my sisters out there listening to my testimony can do it as well. I have been married for 4 years.
Uh-oh, you got stuck?
That's all about me. I'm sure I was, can you hear me? Because my internet was
you kind of buffered a little bit, but if you can repeat that.
Where was I at? Well, I'm going to say it again. I've been married.
You just said I've been married for 4 years. That's what I heard.
I've been married for 4 years, coming up June the 23rd to my chocolate, Mr. Anthony George. And he is definitely
my brother from another mother.
Right. He is definitely God definitely sent us together because we are just so much similar, and I can't and I won't do life without him. So that's my story.
All right. So we got the 4 years. Next up, I want to present to others and to introduce to some is Christina Shelby Griggs. I said a whole government. Well, let me just tell you about a little bit about her. She's our head intercessor at our church, Builders of the Faith, and before when I joined the intercessory team, she used to always just pour into me. And the most that I ever really remember is that every time she would say something to me, she said, "Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard." And she's like, God is gonna do. She will always encourage me and uplift me. And even when it felt like all heck was breaking loose, she was still there. She was forever present. Like if I need her, I can call her, and it's immediate prayer. Like it's not like, oh, I'll pray for you later. It's like, all right, Father God, like she'll go in for you, and she will make sure that you know that you have been prayed for, and it works, and it's just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful relationship, and she's such a beautiful soul. So again, I am introducing to some and presenting to others, Miss Christina Griggs.
Hello. Well, good evening, everybody. Shannon, sister, I tell you, I am just so proud of you, so godly proud of you. And I am so excited about what the Lord is doing in your life. This show tonight is right on time for so many people, for so many reasons. So I'm just grateful that He laid it on your heart. And the best is yet to come for you, my sister. I still haven't seen, and ears still haven't heard.
All right now. I receive it.
So I'm Christina, and I just put 7. Christina Griggs 7. I didn't put 7 years of marriage, so sorry about that.
Okay.
But I am Christina Griggs. I am obviously a wife, a mom, and I am, as Shannon said, a lead intercessor at our amazing ministry, Builders of the Faith, where we met at. And I am also a nurse. I'm an LPN. I work in utilization management, and I am just a woman of God that loves the Lord, and I'm excited about tonight. Thank you for having me.
I am too. Let's get so I want to just keep y'all on the screen as we go. So the next one up is Tifa, Natifa Darden. I don't have enough time to go into all of the things that I can possibly say about this lady here. I heard someone that I went to church with a while ago talk about when women have friends past 10 years and what type of character of woman that is. That means that they know how to really hold on to relationships and forgiveness and know how to get through problems, because sometimes you have problems, but it's how you get through it and how you continue to love on each other. And we've been friends, sisters, even since Tifa was 14 and I was 15. And we went to high school together. We were roommates. We went to college together. I moved to Florida. She moved to Florida. Like, this is how close we were, and we are till this day. We sang in the same gospel group that Dion created, and we still sing to this day. We was just at her house in Orlando last week, harmonizing and singing. And so I'm gonna present to some and introduce to others, but it looks like she's not there. Let's see. Tifa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I definitely cannot see you, darling.
That's all right. I'll go out and come right back in. No worries. Be right back.
Okay. Well, that's good that I can still talk about it. Her children, she's a mother that's a great, great, great mother. Great mother. She is a mother of 2 sons, but she's going to say all of that. Here she goes. I was just trying to, I was just putting some. All right, you there?
Here
she goes.
I'm in the house, literally.
So Tifa, Tam said Tifa. And she said, welcome to everybody. She said, hello, Queen. Dion said, hello, Toya. They clapped it up, y'all. All right, just want to let y'all know. Tiffany said, hey, y'all. That's my Frista. That's my best friend. She's a newlywed, 1 year married, so she's on here. She's coming to get some info. All right? So, Tifa, please tell us about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Natifa. Like Shannon said, I've known Shannon more of my life than not. We'll put it like that. Yeah, I just love God. I love that she's brought us on. That's my baby that just put something up there. Hey, brown skin.
That's her husband.
Yes, glory. All right. So, yeah, I just love this topic. I'm so glad that Shannon asked me to come on the show today because marriage is very important to guys, so it's very important to me and to my family. So, been married for 11 years. Will be 12 years in October the 2nd. I'll be married to him for 5,000 plus days, waking up to the same face. Glory to God. So, I just think it's important that, you know, when we have wisdom, to share wisdom. And, you know, I know a few things. I've gone through a few things, and I'm just excited to, you know, talk with these women. I got my notebook because there's some people that's on here. I'm going to take some notes from myself. But
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think it's good that we're all learning and growing together, and that, you know, there'll be a lot of great information to come out of this conversation because, well, as women, we do experience different things, but they're all the same at the same time. So
that's right. That's
get
right.
in there.
All right. Next up. Next up. I met Sabrina at church, right? And she's quiet. To me, she's quiet, right? But her presence is still there, even though she's quiet. So she just came to the church, so I don't know her as well as I know Christina and Latoya. But nevertheless, I know that she has some jewels. Just conversing about the show. She made me laugh outside of Tuesday night service, telling us about how she got married and everything. So I know that she's gonna have some meat and potatoes for us. All right. So I'm gonna present to some and introduce to others, Mrs. Sabrina Pittman. Yay!
Yeah. Thank you, Shannon, for the invite.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of out of my comfort zone, speaking in front of others. But nevertheless, as Shannon said, we just got to the church, maybe a year or so. I've been married 30 years to the same man. Imagine that. I'm kidding.
That's right.
Yeah, to the same man. I don't know how many days though, Natifa. You got me on that one. I don't know how many days, but we had 5 children. We got 10 grandkids and 1 on the way. We own our own insurance agency together, so we work together. And a lot of people ask us, how can you all work together and then go home together? Like y'all together all day. But it's no problem because number one, he has a pretty face, so that makes it real easy, kind of, because he's very handsome. And so that's a little bit about me. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, now I'm just making sure.
Power on.
Power on. All right. And the only reason why I'm putting that on because I just got a message. I'm going to introduce. You can't hear us at all? I'm sorry. Mrs. Vincent said that she can't hear us, but I'm going to bring her on. Oh, wait. That's what Dee said. All right. Dee said to tell her to log off and log back on. So let's see. And while she's doing that, I have a plethora to say about her. Like, I have so much to say, even though I really want her to hear everything that I have to say. Okay, Toya is on here. Let me get Toya ready. She's gonna log off and log back on. All right, so she's coming. So I'm going to wait for a little while because I really want her to understand how I really feel about her. And this is a great platform because I'm really big on giving people their flowers while they're still here. And since I just grew up in 2020 and I'm about to be 2 next month, I never took the time to really give her her accolades, and I want to do it today, especially because I'm so fortunate to have her in my life and as my daughter's grandmother. I've known her for 25 years because Jasmine will be 24 this year. And it was a rocky start and even a rocky middle and even a rocky end. However, I'm only 2. But what I can truly say is that not once did she try to steer me wrong. Not once did she okay, she said she's going to shut down and come back on because I guess she still didn't hear. But she can always go back because I want to just really get the ball started because we have almost a half an hour in. But you know, she was my help. Like, you know how you have, everybody says that they've had a village to assist them in raising their child. Well, I can truly say that without Mrs. Vincent, I don't know where I would have been. She offset it. Her, you know, Jasmine's father got, he passed away, but when he couldn't do, she did. I had my summers off because she took my daughter from the time that she was 2 weeks old up until now. That's where Jasmine is. You understand what I mean? And one of the biggest things that I really stressed with Mrs. Vincent is that I had a phenomenal relationship with my grandmother. And because I had a phenomenal relationship with my grandmother, I wanted my daughter to experience that type of love because there's nothing better than a grandmother's love. And she just really, she's if I think about a phenomenal woman and a woman that I see make strides, and even when you shift, you know, she know how to pivot, she know how to catch herself, and she will revamp her life and redo, and I'm just very proud to have a woman like that in my life that can steer me the right way when I'm going the wrong way. And she did that for me. So introducing to some and presenting to others, we have Mrs. Carol Vincent. And let's see if she can come on. Can you hear us, Mrs. Vincent?
Finally, I don't know. Me and technology is not my best friend. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
So
I went all into the, you're going to have to probably rewind it because I went into all of this, but I just really want to say thank you so much for being there, and thank you for, even when I got on your nerves, you know, that you were still able to lead and guide me. And I was just explaining to them how everybody knows that it takes a village, but without you, I would not have been able to do, you know, because you handled the things that I couldn't handle, or even what Jamel couldn't handle. You were always that wheel in the middle of the wheel. I know that's Jesus, but you know, that present help, you were always there, like, to help assist us. And I really am grateful and thankful. And even to the day, you know, the things that I couldn't teach Jasmine, y'all are teaching her because I didn't know. I'm 2 years old. I didn't even get those things. You know, you had to teach me. So I'm just grateful. So please introduce yourself. I'm gonna be quiet.
Thank you for having me. That's first. And my name is Carolyn Vincent, and yes, I have been married 45 years. But I'm gonna do like this lady in my church did. They announced she was the cook. Her and her husband, they were the chefs. They did all the funerals and everything in my church, and they had a 50th anniversary, and the pastor announced it, and everybody was clapping and carrying on the accolades. So I went up to her and I gave her this hug. And when I went to pull back, she put me back to her. And she said, let me tell you something, dearie. This 50 years have mountains in it. It have molehills. She said, I don't want you walking around here starry-eyed thinking that 50 years is that cellular book. This is life. And it's been a lot of climbing. I'm happy, but Mr. Brown over there that you see, he's a lot of work. And I never forgot it because I said, ooh, am I going to even get to 20 years? So she's not here no more with us, but I can honestly say now I understood what she meant. Because when she put me to her, I'm like, what's she saying? So
right.
In regards to years of marriage, it is work. I got married young, so I went to school. I had my kids young. I finished my degrees. I all in succession of living. So I don't want it to sound like a storybook, but it's part of life, and it's
right.
How much you put in it is what you're going to get out of it, and that's how I was taught. So, in God and my son, as well as Shannon, this is what I will always tell them, that Rome wasn't built in a day. Things take time. And you have to proceed with patience. Because if you don't, you're going to lose.
Right. That's it. She's the one who made me go to college. I didn't even know. She's like, you got to do something, Shannon. You got to do something. Anything, just do something. That was the one. She was the one who pushed me. I made it, and I even graduated. Because she pushed me. She really pushed me. And I didn't graduate from anything else, but I graduated when she told me to take my behind to school and figure it out. So I did. So let's bring Toya back on, and we're going to get down to the questions and the nitty gritty. So you there? Oh, I pressed the wrong thing. And you guys online, you're not going to hear me talking because I'm going to have my pen and paper ready because I'm taking notes. I'm the one that's not married, okay? So I'm not going to be talking about something that I don't know about. Thank you very much. All right. So that sidebar. All right. Let me put this ticket. I have this ticket thing that I want to put up because it says First Wives. It says the Wives Club. I don't even know if y'all even want to be called the Wives Club, but I thought it was so cute as a title. To have the Wives Club. Oh, where is it? Did I not see
I like it.
it?
I think it's cute.
Me too.
I love it. I was like, listen, we need a Wives Club. Well, if they didn't have it before, I don't think I saved it, but I'm going to put it on now while we're talking. So let's go up to the first question. And the first question that I asked you guys, and I'm going to come off the screen actually, because y'all don't need to see me to hear me, right? Okay, I guess I have to be on because y'all couldn't hear me when I asked if y'all could hear me. All right, so the first question on the screen, I'm going to put Mrs. Vincent back on. And I'm going to put Tifa back. All right, we are all here, all in this together. All right, so the first question is on the screen. What were some of the things that you did to prepare yourself for marriage? How about Toya? You go first since you the newlywed.
What was the question? Where we at?
It's on the screen.
My internet
is on the screen. What were some of the things that you did to prepare yourself for marriage? Is she stuck? Anybody can answer that question. Go ahead.
So if I was going to be honest and answer the question, I would say my preparation was mimicking my parents. Because I got married as a teenager, and, you know, I was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I just knew I loved this man and wanted to spend the rest of my life with him. But I really literally had to learn, you know, learn different steps along the way. Because as a teenager, you know nothing.
Nothing. Not a dang thing.
I want to go. Shannon,
Go ahead.
I did absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Say it again.
No
Absolutely
thing.
nothing.
Absolutely nothing. I was 22, had never seen a marriage model for myself. Didn't know anything about marriage at all. I'm talking about nothing.
Okay.
Zero. Nothing. And so here I am 30 years later. That's what I got. I'm gonna give you real truth. Nothing.
I hear that.
We had no counseling, nothing. Okay.
No counseling, but we push for that, right?
I had just got saved. He had been saved for a long time. Nothing. I got nothing.
All right. Okay. Christina, what did you do?
Yeah.
I know that, Christina. What did you do to prepare?
So I think that everybody's preparation is different. Just like everybody's marriage is different. So it's just kind of one of those things. But for me, I think it was working on myself, working on developing me and learning who I was and being whole within myself before I got into a marriage. And so it was always for me this journey of just self improvement and trying to develop the qualities that I wanted in a mate. So just being very honest, you know, I dealt with low self-esteem and all of that. That stuff it can really hinder a marriage. So I had to get all that stuff out of me and let the Lord just do a work inside of Christina, get to know who I was and my authentic self. I could prepare and I could present to my husband who I was and being happy with myself. So that was a part of my preparation, in addition to talking to a whole bunch of married people and getting them gems and getting that knowledge and that wisdom so that I could be prepared, because there's a picture painted of what marriage is supposed to look like. Right. And then there's the real deal. Right. And so I think on tonight, we're going to talk about the real deal. But
the real deal. That's why we
I wanted to just kind of hear different perspectives to kind of help me prepare. And then again, also the word of God, get into the word, because that's the standard for marriage as a believer. So
that's right. Because if God is not in the middle, I don't know how you're gonna stand. I ain't even married, but I know that much. Toya, you here? Tell me what did you do to prepare?
I'm not sure, because my internet was all acting crazy, but I'm not sure if any of you ladies have actually been married before prior to your marriage, but I got married, my first marriage, when I was 22, and it was completely, no one was really to submit to nobody. It was just a complete mess. So when I got divorced, I had to step back and say, who am I? I know that I deserve to be married, and my desire is to be married, but I know I can't bring in my baggage into this new marriage. So I had to step back and say, you know what, who is Latoya? Because at the time I didn't know. And so for 2 years before I even met my husband, Anthony, I was by myself, wondering who I was, like doing the stuff that, you know what, maybe I like this, maybe I don't like that. What do I like in a marriage? What do I like in a relationship? So I really took the time, them 2 years prior to me even dating my husband, just to really figure out who I was. And I think that a lot of us go into marriages not knowing who we are, or trying to have that mate fix something where we should be able to fix it on our own before we even get into the marriage. And so I took the time to really just focus on, you know, preparing myself, like, who am I? What do I like? What I don't like? And I think knowing that when I was starting to date my husband, because our first conversation, I was telling him, look, I'm this, I'm that. I found out that I'm this and that, and take it or leave it. And he was like, all right, okay. And so we was able to be so honest with each other because I was honest with myself.
Honesty is the best policy. I'm writing that down. Tifa, tell us, what did you do to prepare yourself for marriage?
Nothing. I spent about 1.5 years planning for a wedding. Similar to what Latoya said, my marriage to James was my second marriage. I got married when I was about 20 years old before, and that was a very abusive, physically and emotionally and verbally abusive marriage. So if I did any preparation in dating anyone after I got divorced the first time, it was to make sure that they didn't have those same traits. But when you're so focused on specific traits, you tend to look over other traits that might not be what you want to, do into eternity, right? So I do believe, I love what Latoya said, and so much of what she said was awesome. And I think that it's great that people went to this self-examination thing. Well, I was in a fantasy, and I thought that everything, it was a woe is me, and everything that's happening to me is because of everyone around me. And I never really took accountability for the things that I failed to recognize and take a moment to just figure out. I was in a fast and furious life at a very early age, and that being in a hurry just to be married was crazy, because all these different things happen just because I want to be married, just because I'm scared of being alone. So what am I just going to deal with now? So where I will say my husband is amazing. My husband is my I don't want to say he completes me, because God completes me, but if God had a completer on the earth, that's my husband. Amen. And so he's just my everything. So he's a great person, but we had to develop our relationship because neither one of us had a relationship with God. And I've been in church since I was 6 years old, and I didn't have a real relationship with God until we met a real man and woman of God who had their marriage submitted to their pastors. We watched their victory, heard their transparency about their story, and that preparation didn't happen. I feel like it's a daily prep. Like, I get prepped daily. The Bible says renew your mind daily. daily. So
see, I just want to take a little piece out of your book, what you just said, because I'm not married, but it wasn't for the lack of being asked. You know what I mean? I was asked 3 times, but one, I knew I was going to cheat on. 2, the second one, I knew he was going to cheat on me. And 3, I ain't even like him. You understand what I mean? And I'm not going to get married for the sake of to say that I'm married, to have to get divorced. I don't want divorce. I want to be married, and I know it's work, but I'm not gonna join the paddy wagon or the bandwagon. The paddy wagon is a jail car, right? Anyway, the bandwagon. That everybody hopped on this marriage cake, because more so that they're divorced more so than together. You know what I mean? And that I think some single women need to understand that too. That after the wedding, after the glamour, after the glitz, it's when real life actually starts to happen. Right. And I understood that because, and maybe it's because I was raised with both my mother and my father, 2-parent home. I saw their marriage. I saw what was going on, and there were certain things I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm not. She calls him what? I'm not doing that. So I had a submitting problem for forever. So you said that. That's a good thing. So the next question is, how did you know for sure that the person you were marrying was someone you could submit to? Who laughed?
I'm gonna laugh at all of them.
Who laughed? It's submitting hard.
I think
Dion said, "Heck yeah."
Oh yeah. So, no, it's not submitting. I think that submitting is just being able to agree. And a person that finds it hard to submit, they don't submit to nothing. They don't submit to their mama, their daddy. They don't submit at work. It's a character flaw. Submission is a power tool. Being able to agree. How could two walk together unless they agree? That two could be with your child. That two could be at work. That two could be your parents. How can you walk together unless you agree? So That's all. To me, that's what submission is: being able to agree and fall back and don't think you know it all, and let somebody take the lead. Chill out.
I saw on this thing that Dion and I was watching, and it was the Clark sister. It was Karen Clark Sheard, right? And she was married for like 36 years, and Dorinda was married for like 42 or something like that. And so what she said is that we take turns winning arguments. If he won it the last time, I win it this time. You know what I mean? Like at this point, she's like, well, if I gave in to you last time, it's my turn now. So you can't say nothing, and it alleviates the argument, and it's that compromise.
That sounds like you pick your battles.
Yeah.
Of what is most important. Maybe him having the hat on coming in the house is not as important as him taking that garbage every week. You know what I'm saying? Like you tend, as you get to know your mate, you tend to know what battles you want to win. And those are the ones that's important to you. You don't just pick every and any battle, because then, of course, you're going to be constantly at each other's, throat more. It's not peaceful. I don't know if I use the word submit, but once she I forgot to Natifa. Once she expressed that the word, I was like, oh, okay. Because it does take two. It truly does. Even to make purchases, buying a home, buying a car. These are things that you have to agree on as a couple. It can't be one person want the house and then that person go run and try to get this house, and then the other person is like trying to figure it out. That doesn't make a compatible team, because together this house is going to have issues that you all are going to share. You don't have a choice. So you definitely have to create a team. A husband and wife team. That definitely makes better. And that's something I learned, because in the beginning, when you're young, you think you could do everything. When you're in your 20s, I don't know, you have more of a I attitude. And as you start maturing, you realize the I attitude has to be a pair, because together you can do much more.
Oh, that's so
hey,
good.
Shannon. I think for me, submitting to my husband, I saw the God in him. I think the first thing that attracted me to Anthony was he loved God just as much as I love God. And he was submitting to God. I remember he wouldn't do anything major without going into prayer. And I thought that was so powerful. If he's going to pray, that means that I can submit to him. Now, does that mean that I don't have a voice? I have a voice in my marriage. But when it comes to submitting into his authority as being the king of this house or the king of my marriage, I'm able to say, you know what? I'm going to follow your lead. And sometimes we as women want a man that we can follow. We don't want to be, we don't want to be that woman that take out the trash, take home the bacon and da-da-da. We want to have a guy that actually like, you know what? I'm gonna let you carry the weight and I'm gonna follow you. Now, like I said, it doesn't mean that I don't have a voice. He hears me and we have our saying and we have conversations, but when he says, babe, let's go to God first, that's sexy to me, Jesus. When he says, babe, let's go to God in prayer together. What can I say? Yes, but yes, chocolate, let's go. So for me, I think submitting to this, when we say to submit in this culture, the society that we're living in, it's like a cuss word. I don't think it's wrong to be able to submit to a godly man that you can trust.
See, though, that's the operative word. The operative word is two operative words: godly and trust. There's so many people out there that put in, I included, me included, that put our trust in the wrong thing, the wrong people, you just put our trust because you want what you want so bad that you kind of settle is a one word, but you kind of push out the red flags. Like you see it, it's red, it got lights on it, it's like warning, warning, and you're like, I don't care, I'm a lover of love. That's me. I can act like that because it's but if you don't have no one that actually knows what their position is, how can you follow someone if they don't even know where the heck they going? And
that's what I was
as a
gonna
single,
say.
that's where we at. Go ahead. I got my pen.
That's what I was
see,
gonna
I want
say.
you to see that Elder Ricky, the Emperor, is on, and he said we submit to one another.
Mm-hmm. yeah.
He's an elder at our church. Go ahead.
So yeah, we it's a team. Like Miss Vincent said, we are a team. The Bible says that we submit to one another in a marriage. And for me, I kind of always had a great deal of respect for any type of authority, just because. But for my marriage, and because of my personality, my husband being a good leader made it easy for me to submit to him. Mm-hmm. And because he's not forceful, it makes it easy for me to submit. So I do better if you let me serve you, or allow me to do this, or instead of me feeling like I ought to because it's what what I have to do. And so for me, it's just because we kind of gel that way in our relationship. And so it's not hard for me to submit to someone who I know hears from the Lord, who I know, we're on one accord and has our family's best interest at heart. And so for any single woman, that's one of the things that I would want to encourage you to pray for someone that can lead well. Yeah. Because when I saw that he could lead well, then I knew that I could, we could work as a team and I could submit to him. And that word submit, that's a hard one. I agree. That the word itself, but it truly just means to come up under the authority of. And because God established order in a family, because he established it, then yes, you know, the man is the head, but we also have to work as a team and submit to one another. So that's what it was for me. He lets me submit. He allows me to, and it's easy for me.
Like as you said, you know, how can two walk together unless you agree, right? Then I just heard like all of the scriptures with two, like one can chase 1,000, but two can put 10,000 to flight. I like when 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he will be in the mix. Like it's so many tools. It's better when Jesus sent his disciples out. He didn't send them out one by one. He sent them out 2 by 2. One to be a witness, to do the witnessing. You know, so two. It and because we live in a society where we have this independent funk, all right? And I'm not knocking the independent lady in no way, shape, or form. But I think that we need to find a happy medium because the dynamics have changed. The times have changed. When my mother and Mrs. Vincent and Sabrina, when they were, you know, men made more money at the time than women at the time, but times have changed and women are making more money than the man. And so can you still be submissive and still be the breadwinner? And what does that look like? How do you do that? And how do you not stay puffed up or throw that in your man's face or make him feel less than a man because you got that?
Can I just interject for a second? Not the comment you just made, which is true. A large majority of women make way more than their counterparts. That's very true, the opposite sex. So my daughter is 40 and she's a professional. You know, she's well educated, the whole 9 yards, make a very good salary. And I asked her one day, I said, you know, now at this stage, I'm pretty sure it's going to be hard to find someone that is like your counterpartner in regards to education as well as salary. And she looked at me and she said, Mommy, I don't care about his education. And to be quite frank, I don't care about his salary. What I do care about is how he treats me as a woman. If he could treat me as a woman, the salary and the education is in the back seat because you have, and this is exactly what she said, you have a whole lot that's educated and make money and treat you like crap.
Like crap. Yeah.
So a lot of times,
Kevin Samuels of this world, but go ahead.
A lot of times, people have to actually put their thinking caps on. Because is it about the title, the money, education, or is it about how you want to be treated as a person? So you have to set those standards early on to say, listen, it's not about. But see, what I realize, especially with the different shows that I've done on At the Root of It, that you know sometimes you get sucked into a competition or a comparison, and you don't even realize that you're there. You know what I mean? Until it's, you know, in your face. And that's when the arguments happen, and that's when all of that, because it's a comparison. It's like, you know, and then sometimes the woman, and sometimes from what I see, you know, I can't go off of everybody's house, but then the woman kind of emasculates the man because they have all of these things and because they're puffed up, and just like the high quality man says, I could cook, I could clean, I can do my own laundry, I can do this, so what I need a woman for? Well, the woman is like, I could cook, I'm the breadwinner, I bought my first Benz, I bought my first house, I did what I need you for. So it's just like the constant back and forth where there won't be no families. They won't be anyone that will actually be there for the long haul. What about your legacy? What about your generations to come? We're not thinking about that because I got my house, I got my car, I'm flossing, I got this, I'm taking my trips. But when all of that is said and done, and when you can't move, or you can move, because Mrs. and Mr. Vincent, they are a traveling couple. They travel, all right? They go places and they do things. But when you can't do that and you need a companion,
then what's your money gonna keep you warm at night? I know you get a furry, you can buy stuff, but it ain't nothing like a man to feel protected.
I think that's your one, a companion. I think that's a
right.
instinct. Yeah.
Hey, Shannon. I just wanted to give a little different perspective of what you're talking about as far as finances. So I just, I'm making my notes because I'm definitely listening to Carol and Miss Benson. So the Bible says when we get married, two become one flesh. So it does, to me, if you're looking at a godly marriage, it doesn't matter who makes more or less because it's one. When my husband makes the six figures, it's not he's making the six figures, it's we are making the six figures, right? So it has nothing to do after we put everything together, because I was not taught that way. I was taught you better keep you something under the bed, because have your stash, because just in case he get the big head or get crazy or something, you need to make sure, well, I don't think that way no more. I think that I know that God provides for me. I know that God will give me witty ideas and inventions. I know that I will always have more than enough, no matter what's going on. So I don't think that way no more. But our shaping of iniquity has taught us that these are the things you need to be aware of. And then when you start focusing on that, then it becomes his and yours. And what you're actually doing is practicing divorce. You're not doing marriage when you have things separated. When you're together, you're one. Some of these jobs that, when men get jobs, or if a woman gets a great job and she's going to be making a whole lot of money, sometimes that man's place, the role doesn't switch. He's still the head, but he leads differently. He just leads differently. It does, if he, some women have supported emotionally, mentally, physically, taking care of the house to make sure that when the man comes home, if he's making all that money and he has that position at that time, he doesn't have to worry about this kind of stuff. And it might switch. His legs might fall off. Now what you going to do? You have to figure, you're going to have to switch roles. It has nothing to do like we're switching the order of God. Absolutely not. The order of God never gets switched. We might change it in our minds, but it's still the same. He's the head. That's cool. But we work together. I love the teamwork. It's Team Darden over here. Right. We do everything together. If you start doing things separate, you're practicing how to do things separate, which is divorce or not together. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Just wanted to throw that perspective in there.
I really like that. And Elder Ricky said, wow, practicing divorce. Because when you said that to me, I was like, that makes total sense. Look, he gave you some fire signs, T, on that. I have Sabrina, did you want to chime in on that question?
Submitting is easy for me because I have a great leader in the other room who's very intelligent. And he makes, as she said, he makes really good decisions for our family. And I'm a witness, Natifa, to what you were saying, because Kelvin does a lot of financial coaching. And sometimes when we sit with couples, or he's talking to a couple and they say, well, I pay the light bill, she pay the water bill, I pay the cable, she pay the gas bill. And we're looking like, why is the money separate? Y'all got to bring it together in order for this budgeting that he's trying to teach you, or we trying to teach him, is not going to work unless the money it comes together. Well, that's her money, that's his money. Well, how much money you got in the bank? I don't know what she got, how much money. And he's like, we don't understand that, but yes. So it's easy for me to submit because I very good leader in that. And my mama taught me the same thing, Natifa. She said, don't let your right hand know what your left hand doing. Yeah, so you always got to have your stash. You can't trust them. But mama said the marriage wouldn't last but 2 years either. But yeah, she was about 28 years off, but that's okay. That's their mama. But yeah, so She taught me the same thing. But that's about all she taught me about marriage right there is don't trust the man and make sure you got you something for a rainy day.
Girl, the rainy before the dingy.
Yeah.
Rainy before the dingy. And another thing I just want to add to that is that, you know, the Bible says that money is the elementary thing, right? It's like the dumbest thing to God, right? So if you can't get the money part right, what else? It says, how could you be trusted with the true anointing? You're going to need God's wisdom, instruction, direction, correction, all of that in marriage every single day. Every day. So if you can't understand that he wants you to be one flesh, have everything together, and money just being an elementary thing, if you can't get that part, how can all these other things flourish? How can all these other things fall into alignment? It can't. It can't. You'll always have like some little thing that you just, because you didn't get this, the principle, the base principle right. I'm gonna be quiet now. I want to take more notes.
The foundational principle, right?
Yeah.
That's really good. And I really like that you brought that up. I have this one question. We are over the hour, but I don't care because, like I said, it's my show. But but this question came to me at the time I was talking to Tifa on the phone, and we were going through. We always talk. This is my sounding board for everything at the root of it. So she is 150% supporter of me. So this is a question that I got because vulnerability and transparency is, I believe, one of the hardest things to reveal. It's hard to reveal your innermost to people, right? Was it hard? What level of vulnerability or transparency were you at on a scale of 1 to 10 from the beginning of your marriage to where you are now?
My vulnerability was no number. I told you I was a teenager. So I didn't feel vulnerable because I just didn't know. You know, I wasn't afraid of anything because I didn't know. But I would say today, my vulnerability would be, I don't feel vulnerable. How about that?
You said you're not vulnerable?
I don't feel vulnerable. You know,
okay.
That we have, I don't feel, I'm not vulnerable. I don't feel afraid of anything, or you know, or
you don't have to hide anything from him at this point.
No, I don't.
Right? Like at this point, y'all have essentially like, what am I really hiding from you? Like, we got 3 kids, all these grandkids, great grandkids. Like, what are we really hiding? So I'm gonna ask that question for Toya and Christina, because y'all are fairly, y'all in it, y'all in the game, y'all wheels are turning, but have y'all gotten to a place where all the masks are off?
I think for me, when I met my husband, he was really going through a change in his life, and he was very open with me. And so for me, if you're open with me, then it makes it easier for me to be open with you. Now, granted, I want to say it was at a 10 that we was all the way open. But when we continued to talk and continue just to let our guards down, we was able to, Anthony's like my best friend. Like, I know, you know, you got girlfriends and stuff. I rarely have girlfriends because to the point where he is my best friend. So anything that I'm thinking about, anything that I have fears on, I'll wake him up, babe, chocolate, look. I don't have a place where I can't tell him anything. And I think it all started when he was so open to me about his fears and his life and what he was going through in that moment. It just made it so much easier for me. And so our whole relationship is putting God first and be able to trust each other. So.
And you, Christina?
So when we first got married, and my husband was married before, I wasn't, but my husband had a prior marriage, and I can remember at his place when we were dating and sat down. We were getting pretty serious, and we sat down on the couch, and he was extremely adamant about the importance of communication and how communication is so essential in a relationship. And that is something that we kind of that's kind of one of the foundations of our marriage, is a really strong communication and being able to be open and honest. And our pastor even talks about it, married couples having those hard conversations. And so I don't think that there's anything that we can't talk about, but our comfort level has grown, and our transparency with each other has grown over the years significantly, because where there may have once been a time where I wouldn't open up all the way, I would just give him a little bit, but now it's like, whatever. So I anticipate that my transparency will continue to grow as our marriage continues to grow, and as we, as individuals, continue to grow.
You, Sabrina?
Well, at the beginning of the marriage, I pretty much didn't talk about anything. I didn't want to open up about nothing, pretty much. Now you say on a scale from 1 to 10, maybe probably about a 7. I still have some, walls up even after 30 years. It kind of takes sometimes for a serious situation to go on for me to open up and say, okay, I feel like this, and this. And he's like, so you've been walking around all this time? Why didn't you tell me? Because he's a great communicator, as you all from the church know. And I'm pretty much real closed. And I don't say much unless maybe if I get too angry. Takes a lot though. Takes a lot to get me there. But then I'll tell you how I really feel. So I keep a lot of stuff inside. I'm working on it. But
we working on it on Tuesday night. No more suppressing.
Yeah.
No more suppression.
Yeah. So
look, I just want to show Elder Ricky is on here. He said, Imp is my homeboy. He said, Imp is my homeboy. Then he said, Tim Brick is my homeboy. He said, so, okay. Tim is my homeboy too. Right. So I guess so silly. Yeah, we better not say the wrong thing. So yeah, even after 30 years, yeah, I can't say it's out of 10. So I just we're all still human. I do love him with my whole heart. There was some other things I wanted to go back to that other question, but you'll probably have to do a part 2, Shannon. What other question? You have go ahead and please. Yeah. About the submitting and coming together, and that money thing is something else. So when we first met at work, I think him and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago. I think he was making like $5.25 an hour, and I think I was making like $7 and some an hour. Yeah, back then. And we laugh about it now, but I was like, we weren't even making $15 together. I was like, can you believe that? And it was 5 kids. It was 5 kids, but he was married before, and I had never been married either. So we were bringing a blended family together. Number one, I was 22 and he was 25. He had 3 kids. I had 2. We never had any together, and we wasn't even making $15 an hour, as we said, together. But, we were together. And so
I do want to say this to maybe if you're newlyweds or you think about getting married or you're in counseling or whatever, ex-wives, be sure, stepchildren, ex-wives, be sure that you know what you're getting yourself into before you say, I do. Because nothing, I had no preparation. Nobody said, okay, this may happen with the kids, mama, with the kids. You know what I mean? Nobody told me anything. I was 22, just got to say, my kids are what, 2 and 5. Nobody said anything. It's like, well, wait a minute. So if we want to really start doing, that's why I said we may need to do a part 2, truth talking. 1 minute is, well, your daddy don't love you. He got a new family. You know what I mean? And then you go to the other extreme. Well, I'm dropping my kids off every weekend. I know that's getting off of the question, but I mean, I just want to give you some real life scenarios. Yeah, real life stuff. So to those who are going to get involved with somebody that already has children, that may have been married before, really, really, really do your homework, do your due diligence before you say I do. Not saying it won't work out, but make sure you do your due diligence on that. So from 1 to 10 now, so about a 7. But I just had to throw that in there.
That was really good because a lot of times people don't understand what blended families is all about and what it requires and how to keep the peace and how to, keep everything rolling and not allowing it to affect the kids while the adults is trying to get their emotions together. You know what I mean? And I like I said, y'all know by now that I ain't married, but one thing for sure, 2 things for certain is that the kids matter. And when you have a blended family, you have to take your emotions outside of it and think about the kid and handle the adult away from the kid and outside of what the kids got to do. Because regardless of anything, my daughter was with a blended family with her father and his wife, right? But there were things that my anger or my emotions towards them could not be reflected to my child. Like I could not bleed onto my child for her to make her feel like how I felt about her father. And that's something that most women will make their battle their kids' battle. And that's a no-no. And that maybe that's off the topic as well. But anywho, somebody needed that jewel too. Tifa, your level of vulnerability, my darling, transparency from the beginning to now on a scale of 1 to 10.
So I'll just talk, I guess I'll speak to the transparent part. So I would say I started off at a 0, which I normally do when I meet people. They don't start at 100 with me at all. Like, but as far as me being transparent, I didn't want him to know how crazy I was. I'm gonna just be real. I didn't want him to know I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So, let me try and make sure he knows the good side. I had the Monday mask,
representative,
the Wednesday wig, the Thursday dreads. I had everything. So, but I've come to find out is that I didn't want to be transparent with myself and be real with myself, and where the 2 young ladies here had taken that time to prepare themselves. I think that is just so nice. Like you really took time to figure out who you were before you put yourself in this situation. Right. So I was at a 0, yeah, and now I say 10. Um, I am totally transparent with my husband. I'm totally transparent with God and myself. There's a lot of things, these areas of uh, that I used to cover. I've come to find out that, there are people that could actually heal if I reveal these things. There's people that
Right.
can learn. And, I told Shannon this the other day that somewhere in the Bible, I can't remember where it is. I love the word, but it says that
You are my,
the old, the word says that
she's my
the older
theologian.
women, the older women are supposed to teach the younger
Mhm.
ways of doing certain things. The Proverbs 31 woman was out in the open. She wasn't behind doors. She was out in the open, and she was a seller, and she had all kinds of stuff going on. But you know, I don't know why I got to that point, but right now I can say that I'm very much transparent with God enough because I have to take off that mask and take off all these um insecurities and all these
Personas
different
and
things and
representatives.
people, right, the representatives, right, Shannon. So now I'm free. It's like a very liberating experience just to know that God loves me, and then me receiving that love for everything that was going on with Natifa. It's like, okay, now he loves me, I love me, and now here's the real Natifa. Here you go. This is really her now. And I think that just happened um maybe about 4 or 5 years ago that I got to this point, and I trust my husband with anything, with everything, with every part of me, and you know, my thoughts and my ideas. Some women hold their ideas from their husbands. Like, I don't want him to find out and go and take it and have it patent, and then he gonna just take my idea. No, that's our
That means
idea. So when you make
that
the
means that
millions,
they
James,
preparing for divorce.
there you go.
They preparing for divorce with that then, right? What you say?
But they're definitely not working as a team because if
That's
you have
right.
Right.
That's right.
and you get this thing through, that makes it better for the team.
That's
So to
right.
me, it sounds like you only worried about yourself.
So
Right.
true.
No
And
selfish. You know, no selfishness allowed. Like right now, I remember when I was growing up and my father used to get the big piece of chicken, right? And I didn't understand why he used to always get the big piece of chicken. And and it was so bad to the point that that's the only piece of chicken that I eat because it was so unfair that daddy got the big piece of chicken. Why he had to get both breasts? Why I had to get a dry? I just did not understand it, right? I didn't understand it. But I understand why he got the big piece of chicken. He paid for it. He provided for it. He worked for it. He was the man, provider, protector, everything. And we need to understand that the men need the big piece of chicken. They need to feel honored. They need the big piece of chicken for real. Like they need to feel honored, and we need to be able to know that we're not being taken advantage of because we're doing for our mate, not our boyfriend. Because Tifa has a whole show about what not to do while you're dating, right? And
don't
we're
do
gonna do
nothing.
that.
Don't do
Do
nothing.
nothing, right?
No
But
cooking, no cleaning, none of that.
The cow before the milk or
none
something.
of it.
Yeah.
She tells me, she's like, you better not, a meal, you better take you out. You know, you're not his wife. You know,
Amen.
But in regards to
I'll agree with that.
what you said about making him feel like the king, it's on both sides
Right.
because, and the reason I say that is that if you make one another feel good, everything just goes so much better. It can't
Right.
be you're always
Give and
making
take.
feel wonderful. You need to feel as important as well because let's say you're a stay-at-home mom. Let's say, I mean, I know it's not many of those these days, but let's say you are. that house, the way that house is kept, nobody else can do that. That job is one of the hardest jobs that I don't even want that job. And I work outside my home, but I never desired to be a stay-at-home mom. Because that job to me is unrelenting. It doesn't pay enough. And it's just too much work.
You're right. You're right. Oh my goodness.
It is, and it's a never-ending cycle. Like, you're always doing something in the house. Like, it's not like you could get a rest. You work at home.
They deserve to be put on that pedestal. Now, what I will say about that is my mom, that's why I use that as the example. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but my father made her feel like a queen. Now, when I was coming up, I was always like, I want a man like that, but she earned everything she got. Like, I can remember come home from work and some new style came out, and he would have the whole outfit, the dress, the shoes, the stockings, the bag, the hat. And I'm like, wow, to myself. But she earned it. She earned all of that and some,
Awesome. Right.
Hey, Shannon,
reciprocity is definitely... I was saying reciprocity must be on the forefront. It cannot be a one-sided thing. No. And you have some narcissist women and men who don't see where reciprocity is needed. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother show. My last question is if you can say anything, and this is going to be really like sidebar, because we know that we must keep God in the midst of our relationship for it to grow and to flourish. But I want y'all to take yourself out of self for a minute, and I want you to talk to the unsaved woman, okay? And give her some advice. We know that is to seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto us, right? And all his righteousness, right? But that's gibberish to the woman in the world that is still trying to find her way. She doesn't know that God is a giver to what is the scripture? That he's a giver, that he gives us the desires of our heart if we delight ourselves in him, and when he gives it to us pressed down, shaken together, and running over, that men make, you know what I mean? Like, they don't know that. So what would you say to the woman that, because marriages, some marriages last without God, right? We can't say that it doesn't. We know it works best with God. But I'm only stressing it like this because I don't push my belief on anyone, but I still want them to get a jewel at the end of the day. So what would each one of you guys say to that woman?
So I think I understand what you're saying. So you're saying like more from a practical point of view.
Yes.
So I would say to anybody, believer or non-believer, don't rush. Don't settle. And when I say don't rush, I liken it to, I used to lead a singles ministry years ago at a former church. And I remember saying, I liken it to when you're driving on a highway, and when you're driving really, really fast, you miss some stuff. There's a lot of stuff you don't see. But when you just, you driving speed limit, taking your time, you see little things. Oh, that bird. Oh, this, that, something in the road, and so I liken it to, being able to take your time and watch for those signs, and don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't settle. And then also, when I was single, I asked someone that was married 50 years, what are you doing? I want that. I'm here for that. And she said to me, it's no one thing, Every marriage is different. You have to find what works for your marriage. And that has always stuck with me. Every relationship is different. So you and your spouse or whoever you're dating and wanting to, marry or engage to, you find what works for you and your marriage, and you make it work together as a team, because that's really what matters. So that's my advice to the single people.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I would just say it's harder to build the airplane in the sky than on the ground. So give yourself the time. Take your time. I totally agree with what was just said. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Learn yourself so that you can present the best part of you to the best part of him or her. And if you don't know God, you're gonna need him. You're gonna need him. So
you will always make it a ministry moment. That's my sister. If you don't know him, if you don't know, now you know. I know that's right.
Ask me. One Jesus asked me. But
so you want to say? Oh,
just to kind of piggyback off of a lot of
Tifa.
females, a lot of females, they go into relationship thinking that the other person can fill a void. And I'm a big advocate of loving yourself first.
Yep.
Because you can't put in what you don't have. So my advice would be to find time, don't rush, but find time to love yourself. You don't always need, I know this is a marriage thing and we're talking about marriage, but like I said, you can't put in what you don't have. So finding that time to love on yourself is going to be very beneficial to that person that you will wind up marrying, because then that person won't work so hard to make you happy because you're already happy, And so that would be my advice. Find time to love yourself. So that way, when you do become married, you can have something to bring to the table.
Good stuff. Sabrina?
That was awesome.
Well, Miss Natifa, she's been my partner tonight. Thank you. I done got a lot from her. Well, like she just said,
I get a lot from her every day.
Right.
Every day.
Well, Natifa, I was building my plane in the air. We did not start on the ground.
I wrote that down.
Yeah. Listen. So this plane has been built in the air. Yeah, and it's finally landing after 30 years. Because, well, unlike Latoya and Christina, they learn all those good gems and nuggets about loving themselves, finding yourself and all that. I didn't have anybody to teach me that. I didn't have anybody to teach me that. So, and I didn't have a year and a half to prep for a wedding like Miss Tifa did. So I'll tell you this quick. Before I told Shannon, I said, we caught the city bus to a notary public, got married. Yep. And she gave me a little plastic bouquet of flowers, and she took a Polaroid picture, and I waved it dry on the way out the door. To get back on the city bus, he went to work at the post office, and I went home. Wasn't no honeymoon, wasn't no money. I'm talking about, well, you want it real life. I'm talking this real life. So this plane has been built all the way down. So my advice after these 30 years is to learn to forgive and forget, forgive, forget, forgive, 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 forgive some more. Yes. And please take your time. Please take your time. And like she said, start building the plane on the ground. right, on the ground and not and not in the air like we did. But nobody told us. But I'll put my plug in too, Natifa. God has been faithful because really, if you knew the story, yeah, if you knew my story. So forgive and forget.
And forget.
Forgive and forget.
I love
Mrs.
that.
Vincent,
Shannon, can I
what
just
would
say
you
something before
say?
Miss Vincent go?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
She said forgive, ladies, and forget, not tuck it away to use as
Suppressing,
ammunition
right.
in some argument 45 years later. Forget it and move forward with your life and get back on
Listen,
into a place of peace.
I'm still working on it, Natifa. That's what I can tell you.
a
Forgive and
mouthful.
forget. Forgive and forget.
Yes,
Forgive
You
and
said a
forget.
mouthful. Mother and my father has been married for 52 years, and I swear my mother is still mad at my father because in 1969 he left Crasdale Foods, and that was the best job that he could have. And he has owned businesses. He has done so many other things, and they got married in 19. That's a grudge. I'm like, what is wrong? And she'll say, well, you should have never quit Crasdale. What? So don't pull it out your pocket, at the opportune time to try to get your point across. I love that. I love that. Mrs. Benson, your jewel.
Natifa, I have to hand it to because I too build in the air, not on the ground. Unlike Sabrina, I did have people tell me, Carol, you're too young, but you don't listen. So I'm just here to tell you, Sabrina, even if they told you, you probably wouldn't have listened either. So, I mean, because that's how young people are. They don't listen. Just think about your kids. So,
Not at all.
I built in the air, and I had to bring it on down to the ground, and then create a foundation and work on the forgive and the forget, because I certainly was one of them. I hold on for dear life. So, and that took a lot. That took a whole decade plus. It might even be going on today for all I know, because I can't post some stuff up, But I also remember I told you I picked my fights, my battles. So in the end, though, I have to agree with Latoya and Christina in knowing who you are. That is so important, because it took me, because of me getting married as a teenager, it took me another 8 years to come into my womanhood, if you will, if I'm using the right definition.
Yeah, femininity, womanhood.
Because when I started, I was so young and I didn't know anything really. And then I could feel myself growing, growing in different ways, education, what I want, the outlook of life. And my other half, I think he got terrified because he's probably trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with her, because he probably felt more the title of daddy than husband. So now we had to come together as husband and wife, not caretaker, daddy, or nothing else. Because now I'm matured into this woman. So my advice is to know who you are and what you're looking for. Don't go in there like, well, if he do this, I'll do that, or if he make all this money, we ain't got nothing to worry about. You already know in your mind what you want. You already have had this discussion with him. I'm looking to buy a house at 28, or I'm looking to open a business at 30, whatever the case may be. But I think you definitely should define who you are to yourself. Yes.
That's good. Elder Ricky said forgive. What is that?
You may never forget. That's what he wrote. Is that what
No,
he said? Right?
he said. Is it coming on?
It was up
It's
and then
highlighted. Yeah, because I keep double tapping it. Okay, he said Give and not hold against. You may never forget. When you remember, try not to hold it against. Forgive and don't hold against.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Tange said, thank you, ladies. Really appreciate y'all for the time and words tonight. I'm about to marry Shannon's big brother, Ron Willis. Soon as he wake up. She said as soon as he wake up, she gonna marry him. She said, but seriously, Jen, great show. Y'all ladies are amazing. I just want to thank you guys so much. We didn't get to all of the questions like I wanted to, but I think that we really tapped on to some really good topics as far as knowing yourself, and about submitting and choosing your battles and knowing just knowing that it takes time, it takes work. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not an overnight success. It is something that takes work, dedication, and forgiveness. And you know, the Bible says that daily we must forgive 70 times 7. And that's a lot of times daily, you know, and we really want to try to find a reason not to forgive, but we have to yet still forgive, because it's not for, for anything, it's for us, you know, it's not, you know, to forgive people. So I thank you guys. And Tifa, that got to go on the t-shirt. It's harder to build an airplane in the air, in the sky, than on the ground. If that ain't like it is, that was so beautiful. I love you. I love you. I love you guys. I thank you so much. I'm so honored that you graced my show with your presence tonight at such short notice. I think I asked Mrs. Vincent on Friday if she wanted to. So it was just like, I really, really thank you guys, and I'm very honored that you came on here and dropped so many jewels. Before we get out of here, I just want to promote At the Root of It created a 15-minute guided meditation, daily meditation that you can listen to whenever you want to. It's my first one. The link is in the description box all the way at the top. I'm asking everybody who's online or who will come online to please click that link, hit subscribe, view it, because one thing about At the Root of It is we don't have a product. The product is knowledge. And I don't know how much of a price tag I can put on knowledge, but I research everything because I am not an expert. I'm a novice. And I'm learning myself. But in the process of learning, I get so many text messages, emails, DMs, just on just the different topics of At the Root of It. And so in order for At the Root of It to monetize, this is the avenue. So please, your subscription is free, your share is free, and your view is free. But it will help monetize me, and it won't take anything from you guys, all right? So please, 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 if y'all can, click the link in the description box, listen to it a little santy, and let me know what you guys think. I have a little demo that I'm gonna play before we go out. But I love you guys. Thank you again. Till we meet again, same bat station, same bat time. See y'all next week. We are on this singles thing, y'all. We are going to get it right. Okay, sorry. We're gonna get it right, whether we like it or not. So till we meet again, guys, check out this video of the 15-minute daily affirmation meditation. And see y'all next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh, hi, Kiki. Thank you.
Subscribe to At the Root of It on
Welcome
YouTube.
to At the Root of It's affirmation for the day. Does it play? Please sit in a quiet place so that you can free your mind and speak positivity over you. Relax your mind, sit in a quiet space, and release all anxiety, stress, decisions, anything that is hindering you.
Welcome, everyone. We want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us. Come on, let's get to the root of it. Ow!
In these times that we live, we take strides to move forward. We strive to be more, stay strong and be focused. Start a while, we make choices, live or die. Take over starts at the root, and the truth may be hard to swallow. Step one,